Yeah, we are live now.
Okay.
Hey Al, how are you doing?
Hi, Kount. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So first up, congrats on the fantasy cricket auctions yesterday on Cricket Battle platform. It crossed over 10,000 views.
Yeah, thank you. It was incredible, actually. This is the first time something like that was ever attempted. And to cross 10,000 for a preview show and for a tournament like the BBL, it was surprising even for us. So it shows how much
Yeah,
people are
very.
interested to play such a format and how much people are interested in the BBL packs that we are sending out and how useful it has been to them.
And it was like a 1 hour 45-minute show, and to have 10,000 people to watch the entire show,
Yeah,
goes to show how much of value is there for the viewers on these shows.
yeah. I mean, you talked
So to
about
me,
how we can make an
sorry, go ahead.
esports level competition of this. How
Yeah.
they're playing video esports games like the esports games that they play. We could convert auction fantasy and draft fantasy into that. So this is something we see. We can already see the scope for it.
Yeah, it's brilliant the way it's been a great start, and I can only see this becoming bigger and bigger as you keep doing these shows. So I'm very excited to work with you. So
Same here.
with
Yeah.
me, sorry, go ahead.
It's same here.
Yeah. So with me, I just to kind of back up a bit. So I went to Tijuana in Mexico first to check, so because sports betting is legal in Mexico, but unfortunately none of the popular betting sites worked there. The internet there was appalling. I just could not make it work there. Then I found out in the US, sports betting is legal in Arizona. So I moved to a city called Yuma in Arizona. So sports betting works there, but unfortunately Bet365 does not work there.
Okay.
So and Bet365 is the only site betting site out there which has got the future spread, and
Yeah.
none of the other BetMGM or BetRiver, the other guys don't have it. So I'm here now in Denver, Colorado. So Bet365 works in Colorado and in New Jersey, and it's
Nice.
going
Yeah.
to start working in Ohio starting January 2023.
Oh.
So these are the three states we have as options to operate from, and Denver is closest to home, right? I live in California, so let's see how this goes. So I've created an account on Bet365. I already loaded some money on it. Let's see how this session goes. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to forward it to my followers. The stream. There are multiple streams that have come out on my
Okay.
timeline.
So why don't you take a
Okay. Yeah.
second
You
and
can.
do that?
Sure. Yeah.
So meantime, I will bring up the screen at my end as you do this.
I think I finally found the right one and forward retweeted it.
Cool. So
Okay. Let's start.
yeah. So yeah, I'm back on the Sydney Sixers and the Melbourne Stars.
Yeah.
Data page that you had put up. So now with the latest announcement of Steve Smith joining Sydney Sixers, does it impact anything at all in the sheet that you guys have prepared?
No, like because like with Warner, he'll be stuck with the test team. So in terms of what we are doing and in terms of fantasy, in terms of sports betting, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing I want to ask you, because I was just going through this data, slightly more in detail. I did read the creator's notes about Moses Henrique. He seems to have had a very good 2021. Is he out of form? Is it anything that is challenging Enrique's performance this season?
The one thing is like for normally for in T20s for batters who are batting number four and below, you don't expect volume of runs. You only expect them to contribute in terms of strike rate. So while Henrique's form is a bit of up and down, and he's also aging, these are the couple of factors that we'll need to keep in mind. Even at his best, and Henrique will not be able to challenge Josh Felipe in the runs market. Because as someone who opens, Felipe could easily put up 400 runs. You could see it. All of the 3 seasons, the minimum number of runs he has gotten is 400. While for Enrique, the best season itself has given only 440.
That's true, and also it's a good point you make about number of balls Henrique will get to face. Because he bats down the order, it's down to 18 balls versus and that also impacts because Henrique's strike rate last season was only 130s
Yeah,
compared to Josh Felipe will obviously opening
yeah,
with the form in the last 3 seasons that he's been.
yeah.
You could expect him to consistently put on another 400 plus runs for the season as well.
True.
And before we kind of do the picks, I just want to understand, right? So we you have put two betting calls. One is for Josh Felipe for Sydney Sixers. Another one is for Adam Zampa for Melbourne Stars. So, but I see 8 teams there, right? So I'm just want to understand why there are only two betting calls. I just want to understand the process behind it. How does
Yeah.
Coversoft does it, and how do you come up with these betting calls? If you could just explain that to me and for our
Yeah.
viewers, please.
I was speaking to a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, some time back, about how we have done hundreds of 100 plus hours of research, and yet we have given out only two of the preseason betting calls so far. And I wanted him to follow it and use that to repeat what he's doing, because that's how you could both fantasy gaming, be it fantasy gaming or sports betting. That's how you can crack it. You might put in hundreds of 100 plus hours of work, but that doesn't mean you can take 50 plus shots. The opportunities are rare. The betting markets are smart. Whatever you think you know, they also know as well. But at some point, but they cannot, they cannot avoid giving out the market because of that. So that's one of the opportunities we use at some point. This other thing is that there are sometimes betting markets make a mistake. They mistreat a game, they mistreat the flow of the game, they mistreat conditions. Those things like come out like once every 5 to 6 attempts. So you'll have to wait for those and cash in on it. Not go in every single opportunity that you think might be good. You should have like 3 to 4 check boxes. One is the stats check box. Does it match history historically? Then do the numbers match up? Two, does it make cricketing sense? Sometimes the numbers might tell you something, but does it make cricketing sense? Can you understand why, from your cricketing knowledge, why that something has happened? So this is the second box that we have. Third, what is the level of information you have at the point you're making the prediction? Sometimes based on the level of information you have, it might sound a good bet or a good fantasy pick, but it could merely be because of the lack of information you have in your hand. Do you have the entire information that you should to make the call? That these are all the things we take into account. So when you have three or four such boxes that we need to tick, these are the only two bets that have ticked all three boxes. For example, we could go on a top wicket taker market for a number of bowlers, but we have eliminated all of it because a lot of them involve pace bowlers, and pace bowlers over a 16 game tournament, you cannot back them to, playing all of those matches, or they may even break down in the middle of the tournament. We can see this often happen with Kane Richardson, Nathan Ellis, Billy Stanley. These are the type of bowlers, Andrew Tye. Even these are bowlers you cannot back to last the whole season. That's one thing. And for Felipe, for example, we have gone with Felipe because Vince leaves after 10 games. If Vince stays for the 14 games, we wouldn't have gone for it. These are the kind of things that we take into account before making a call.
That makes perfect sense to me. Thanks for explaining that, Al. It was, more and more I have discussions with you. I kind of start understanding the process better, and when I understand the process in such detail, doing this becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah,
So it's
I
awesome.
think the
So
one
I'm going to
difference
go to the
between,
bet.
yeah, sure, you
Mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now, the one difference
Right.
between daily fantasy and sports betting is that in sports betting, it rewards you for the discipline and it rewards you for your cricketing intelligence much better than daily fantasy. That's one thing. Sports betting is one thing, and the other thing is that season fantasy. And there are fantasy formats that we have introduced. All of these reward much better for your cricketing intelligence and discipline.
Yeah, makes total sense because we did try doing the daily fantasy on Dream 11. And mostly it's a hit or a miss, depending on there are so many factors that takes place when a game is going on.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis doing a betting call, especially on season performance, seems to be a lot more logical, driven by data, numbers, and
Yeah.
past performances. So I'm going to share my screen again to see if I can bring up the Bet365 screen. There you go. So hopefully you're able to see the Bet365
Yeah.
screen at your end, Al.
Yeah.
So just to give a shout out to Bet365, so only a site that has the, as we would see shortly, the betting spread, and also a shout out to Colorado. So anybody in the US looking to get into legal betting action, head to Colorado or New Jersey and create an account on Bet365. This is the only way to do it. We learned the hard way, went around, the globe to find out. I wish this information was available for me and I ventured out to do this. But here we are. We're trying to do these things for the first time, and it's great that we are finding these facts for our followers and viewers, and hopefully they will find our journey useful. So I'm going to go to cricket. There are a
Yeah.
lot of options, and then within cricket, what we want to do is we want to go to outrights.
Yeah.
Right. And within outrights, as you can see for Big Bash, they have given multiple options to win outright. That would be a very risky bet to make. To reach the final, name the finalists, the top five finish, the bottom finish, top batter, top bowler. But what we're going to do is that we're going to do the top team batter. So that's where we're going to make our pick. So I'm going under top team batter, and within that, as you can see, if you can explain the betting spread, Al. So why is Josh Phillips 13-10 vis-a-vis a Silk 41?
Okay, it's in fractions. Is there a setting that you could convert it into decimals? Or maybe you could do that later. But yeah, I'd basically explain the markets. The Sydney Sixers was the first pack that we sent out, and we had this bet at that point itself. Say Bet 65 hadn't put out their markets at that point, but like us, they're also predicting Josh Philippe to be the leading run scorer of the season for Sydney Sixers. That's why the odds it's at the lowest for Philippe, but since because it's a season market, the odds is still encouraging for you to go in. We have also said our policy about how we make our betting philosophy, how we make our predictions. Like the odds should be at 70% of the calls that we give should be at 1.8 plus, because we are not going to waste our time and your time by giving out 1.2, 1.3 calls. We'll have to have good returns. Only then it will be easier for you to maintain the positive mindset while going through all of these.
Yeah. So
So
that's a good
what they're
explanation.
basically predicting is that Josh Felipe they are expecting to be the leading run scorer, and as we have warned in our season doc, Curtis Patterson is its biggest competitor, which is why he's at second spot. So it is the exact thinking process that Bet65 odds team has also gone through. And third, as we discussed, Moises and request comes in.
That makes sense. So let's now go ahead and pick Josh Philippe. Just one change, the way that we announced the show, that count to 10L. So instead of that, we're going to do count to $10,000,
Yeah.
because on Bet365 bet in dollars, that it'll be easier to communicate and compute. And also almost, I think $10,000 is about 8.5 lakhs, close to 10 lakhs now.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and pick up Josh Felipe, and this was the frustrating part. Uh, and I tried to do it from Arizona, so it'll come to me till this point, but it will not highlight the set wager part. instead it will say check your IP. So I've tried the VPNs, I've tried going to these places. uh, all these apps I have way to check your location. So you download this thing called PLC that makes sure that your IP matches with the IPs where you can legally bet. So having explained that, so we have we said about 3% of our budget would be on Josh Felipe. So
Yeah.
given that we want to do $1,000 of betting through the BBL season, so we would set the wager at 30 for him. Is that a way to do it?
Yes, count. That's right. 30.
Okay, so let me take 30, and then if Josh Felipe does end up being the highest run getter, then I would make $69. So that's how
Yeah.
it works. So I'm just going to do this. Remember me, and I'm going to click on this place bet. This is going to be the first bet I ever place. So wish me all good luck. There
Team
you
Josh
go.
Felipe.
Yeah. So you've done that. The bet has been placed on Josh Felipe to be the highest run getter for Sydney Sixers. So we are done with that. So now we're gonna go back from a top team batter. We're gonna change that to a top team bowler. So that was a second betting call on Adam Zampa. Especially even though Zampa has not taken a lot of wickets in the last season, he's most successful. Let me get here. So if you look at, I'm looking at Sydney Sixers or Melbourne. Yeah. So right here. So he had taken about 20 wickets in 2020 and 19 wickets in 2021, but only 10 wickets last season. But the fact that he does not have Glenn Maxwell to bowl spin at the other end, chances are that Adam Zampa would be a lot more successful this season. Would that be a good logic to say?
Yeah, count. And also like we did it with Sydney Sixers, we are also comparing his competition. What are the competition does he have? Nathan Coulter Nile. I mean, this is the bowler who gets injured every tournament. Like you pick him a tournament, he'll almost always get injured in some form or not be available. So that's one of them ruled out. The second is that Trent Bolt. Again, like with Vince, he's leaving for the International League 20 after 10 games. So that's one thing, and the third thing is a Brody Couch and Luke Wood, the other competitors. Brody Couch had a great season last year. He's an exceptional talent, but again, the second season is something that almost always turns out to be difficult for cricket players because teams figure out their strengths and weaknesses and become more aware of what they are going to do, so they play them better. So that's something we are using to rule Brody Couch out, and also he's express quick at an age of 22, 23, you do not expect these bowlers to be on the field always. The last option we have is Luke Wood. Luke Wood is someone who is new to the entire Big Bash tournament. He's here based on the success he had at the 100. So considering the conditions are new to him, he'll take some time to adjust to these. So these are all the factors that we are banking on to predict that Zampa, a seasoned performer, an international quality bowler, and one who has a full availability, will end up as the leading wicket taker for Melbourne Stars.
Yeah, that sounds good enough to me. So let's go ahead and pick Zampa. I just clicked on Zampa, the wager. So I just made the remember, so the same $30 got applied. So my return would be 82.50 if Zampa comes out on the top as the team bowler for Melbourne Stars. So let me go ahead and do that. It feels so simple that just a couple of clicks I'm done. For this, I've almost traveled 2,500 miles, going station to station, but it all got done so quickly. Um I just had one question. Again, I was going through the Sydney Sixers, uh, going to the more like let me get to the right sheet so that I can ask the right question. Yeah, the matchups. So Josh Philippe, the only weakness if he has anything is against left arm pace.
Yes,
And
that's
I
right.
was hoping that when Melbourne Stars plays their return game, the second game, by then Bolt would have gone to play the Emirates T20, but not so. So um, Bolt is going to play both the games with Sydney Sixers because he leaves for the Emirates T20 only after the January 6th.
True. Yeah.
So hopefully he will get the better of Bolt. Suddenly I start thinking differently once I made my picks. So that's it from from the show today. We just wanted to make these two picks, and thanks Hal for helping me to do that. And tomorrow
Absolutely
we
no,
will go ahead, Hal. Sorry.
no problem at all, Amit.
Yeah. So we will go live again before the match starts tomorrow, and to make some picks for the game. And for that, you would make a match analysis available to all the
Yes.
subscribers.
Yeah, we are sending, we will be sending that out to all our preseason subscribers. And we have 200 plus subscribers now. Funny that every time we get on a show, we keep increasing the numbers. Shows how our work is being loved by people. So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's what I was, joking the other day. Not the other day, just yesterday. That after Marnus, Steve Smith, and Ishan,
Yeah, yeah,
Towers off is the fourth player to score a double hundred this week,
yeah,
and this will be start of multiple hundreds and thousands of subscribers for covers of, I'm sure. And this is where viewers, if you want accurate betting calls, calls for playing fantasy, uh, subscribe to Covers Up. You just have to download the preseason app. It's available on both on iOS and Android. And within that, you will see there are many content publishers, and Covers Off is one of them. And Al also has a free channel, so you could subscribe to both the channels. And once you do that, you'll start getting notifications from the app itself on all the new updates that Al sends out to preseason app.
yeah. Just a clarification count. We have moved our BBL season team and venue packs to the covers of Surge account, but the daily fantasy it has also started getting subscribers. The covers of account now primarily serves for daily fantasy and sports betting support, while the pre-tournament packs that we did have been moved to covers of Surge. But if you have subscribed to covers of yesterday, starting yesterday, you'll be getting South African T20 tournament team and venue packs, which we have already started working on. But to get BBL, you should subscribe to covers of Surge.
The covers of Search Pack. Yeah, I just saw that on the app. It has come up yesterday. Uh, Great. So, just last question. So, just tell us a little bit about what more is going to be available when the covers of website goes live.
Yeah. Right now, our audience have seen, the general public has seen our content put on preseason and the gaming shows that we have started doing fantasy yesterday, and this one count to 10K US dollars today. And the third is that there is going to be a data wing of covers off where all you need to do is just select the player name, and we'll be giving out the exclusive stats, that all the necessary stats that we think will be useful to you in cracking daily fantasy and sports betting. It's not something where you'll have to go and put out million filters and spend a lot of time on it. We have selected all the stats that will be relevant to you based on our experience in the field over the last 10 years. So all you need to do is, for example, if you want to see stats about Josh Philippe, all you need to do is select Josh Philippe, and the entire set of stats will be out in seconds. So this is something that we'll be launching very soon with the website, and we have partnered with the Crick Metric for it, who is a giant in the field, of stats. So something that's we are very excited about. We have managed to combine cricket and fantasy and data and gaming as well. All of these together is going to be, like we have been talking about, is going to be the Amazon Prime of cricket content.
Yeah, that's a very exciting news. Especially the way my mind is thinking. At least for the men's cricketers, people who've been doing it, they have some past data. They follow the game. They follow a player. People tend to think that the recency bias we keep talking about, so they tend to operate with that recency bias. But when it comes to women's cricket, you don't even have that recency bias. So,
Yeah.
for example, the India Australia game yesterday, I think it's a good curtain raiser for the women's IPL that's going to be played. That
Yes.
announcement came yesterday, and also the women's T20 World Cup. So it will be a really great resource to have that access to player-wise information. All much so for the men's cricket, but even more for the women's cricket, the way I see it.
It it is true, Count. For example, if you take Smriti Mandana, for example, unless you have followed her close enough, you do not know whether how does he play, how does she play against off spin, for example, because the numbers are not there, the bowling type numbers, the face type numbers are not there. She's a left-hander. You normally expect her to struggle against off spin, but unless I have followed her all her career, how would I know? I need the numbers to make all of these make sense, but there is no numbers available. This is something that Kawasoff is also attempting to rectify in the coming months.
Exciting days ahead, back-to-back cricket. We took a pause after the World Cup at almost a month now, but the BBL starting, we are going to have Emirates T20, South Africa T20, women's World Cup, women's IPL, PSL, Pakistan Super League, and of course the
Yeah.
biggie, the IPL. So we have back-to-back exciting cricket season starting December all the way till end of May. And not to forget, we're also going to have exciting test series and also bilateral one-day series during this period.
Yeah.
I'm
India
really
bilaterals.
excited. And go ahead, Al.
India bilaterals will be doing as comprehensive of coverage as we have done for BBL, for example.
Yeah, looks like Dhawan's one-day career is done with Ishan Kishan scoring that a left-hander can replace a left-hander. So finally, because the one thing is that you cannot, if you look at an Australian one-day team, any losing team, they hardly lost World Cups. 2019 they lost, but if you look at their when they lost in 2011 or 92, 96 again under Mark Taylor. They won in 99 versus Pakistan. A losing Australian, captain or even a member from a World Cup team never plays in the next World Cup. So
True. Yeah.
they usually make sure that the entire team is refreshed. But we've been carrying, uh, you know, I'm not trying to be very, specific about Dhawan, but to have the same top three. We had 2015 the same top three, 2019 the same top three, and the reason why we lost in 2019 is because the top three did so well, and then the batting depth was not really tested with Punt and Vijay Shankar and players like that. So that's a big fear, going into 2023, because they have these couple of these bilateral series, and after that, they get into the IPL mode. And again, we talked about how Nathan Coulter comes down with injuries. The kind of injuries our fast bowlers been coming down with,
Yeah. Yeah.
Deepak Chahar, Jasprit Bumrah. Now Mohammad Shami is out. It seems like we are already very late building the one day squad for the World Cup next year. But hopefully we with Ishan's, and that's a good thing is that we're going to play the World Cup in India, so we can definitely take Ishan's innings, and to the credit of picking up in the team. If you're going to play the World Cup in Australia, it'll be a completely different scenario, right? So in
True.
terms of Ishan struggles against the short ball. So I just wanted to kind of have that conversation also going, because we have the World Cup coming up next year. Somewhere we can touch upon for a few minutes during our shows, and so that I can pick your brains on it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, even if it isn't Ishan Kishan, I think Shikhar Dhawan's ODI career is done, because you cannot survive a serious loss generally, especially on the back of the performances India have put the last year, group stage exit at Asia Cup, and not making the finals of the World Cup. So a group serious loss series loss is difficult, and a series loss against Bangladesh, although the team is good. They've been an exceptionally good team at home, but general public doesn't view it that way. BCCI wouldn't view it that way. Oh, Bangladesh are developing, so we shouldn't lose to them. They'll still view them as a smaller cricketing nation. So someone said it's going to roll, and I think it's going to be Shikhar Dhawan. And even if Ishan Kishan doesn't replace him, I see at least Shubman Gill, who was part of a number of ODI series before that, as an opener, will be coming in. Shubman Gill, or even someone like Rishabh Pant could be promoted to opening. But yeah, that's it. I do agree with you that Shikhar Dhawan's time may be over in the ODI team.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have Gill open with Ishan Kishan and with Rohit Sharma's fireworks down the order. He can, he's a great captain, so he can play down the order if he can, because that's where our struggles have been in the previous World Cups.
True. Yeah,
With
it's
Dhoni
something
not
that.
being there, who's going to play the anchor role, playing with the middle order and the lower order to take us to a big score? Because he
Yeah,
can clear
it's
the
some.
boundaries with ease.
It's something I've been talking about for a long time. I mean, we got this giant of a player with promotion to opening, with Dhoni's promotion to Dhoni's session to promote Rohit Sharma as an opener. But what we missed is someone who could have been so dominant as a lower middle order player, because Rohit has a range against pace. So while we may have succeeded in finding a great opener, someone like Yuvraj Singh, who was winning a lot of tournament for us because of being an exceptional middle order player, is something that we missed out on in Rohit.
Yeah, and with Rohit's experience with T20 cricket, the way I think the way England, is playing their cricket, so they play the first 30 overs is like a separate game. Maybe the top three plays the first 30 overs, and the
Yeah.
last 20 overs is actually like a 2020 game. So if you have that batting depth, all the way till 8, 9, who can hit those big sixes. On the other end, you could have somebody like Rohit Sharma, who could play 60 to 75 balls,
Yeah.
coming in the 30th over. That's going to put us, with phenomenal scores, like how much we scored in the last game, 400 plus.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the par score, at least 350 plus to 400, to be on the safe side if you need to defend.
Yeah.
Especially,
I, I,
I'm
gen-
sure there'll be. Go ahead.
I generally look at as 330 as the score that you need to be comfortable, especially for bowling units that are not so competitive. And when the deck is exporting or at least good, but on flat tracks, you'll have to get to, on England, for example, to beat them. You even 330 has sometimes not been enough. You'll have to push it to 340 and 350.
Yeah. So last time when India scored 400 runs in a match and lost two games, the entire team got overhauled. That was in 2007 World Cup.
Yeah.
So what happened now in Bangladesh is so similar to what happened 2007. Hopefully, a big overhaul comes, right after this Bangladesh series.
Yeah.
So that's all today with you, Al. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Really looking forward to our chat tomorrow before the game begins.
Yeah. Me as well.
All right. Have a fantastic day ahead. Thanks for your
Thank
time,
you.
Al. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.